Hope you're all well. Going to do a talk over today, well, talk through. Not used to doing this, so if you can just bear with me. And what we're going to do today is just little testers on abstract watercolour. The reason I did it into 4 sections is that I think it's a little bit less intimidating doing little tiny ones than doing a whole big picture, especially if you're new to it. So I thought we'd give that a go and see how it turns out. The watercolours that I'm using are the Kuretake watercolours, and I've decided to do them in these 3 colours. I've not used these 3 colours before. Could be good, I don't know. I like experimenting, so we'll soon see. And the watercolour brushes that I'm using, I think I'm going to start off with a flat brush. I quite like a flat brush because you can go side to side. You can cover quite a lot of area pretty quickly. So it's a good tool to use. You can use it in various ways to make different shapes on your page. So yeah, I quite like using this, but any brush that you have would be good. So don't worry if you haven't got something like this. Just use a usual round brush. You can more or less do the same kind of patterns. You just might not cover as much of the page, but that's okay. All right. So the one that I'm going to start with first is this, which says that it's beige grey. So I'm going to just put a bit of water to it, load up your paintbrush, and then very randomly I'm holding, if you look at how I'm holding the brush, it's sort of sitting in my hand. I'm not holding it tightly, and I'm just letting it sort of roll around. Not really thinking about where I'm going to put the paint. Well, not thinking at all, in fact, just letting it go. So getting more and just keep layering. You could put a little bit of this, you could put a lot of this, it really doesn't matter. Good thing about abstract is that you sort of let go to it, and if you're a bit controlling, it's very hard to do that. But that's what it's all about, is letting go and just see what happens. Not to worry too much about it. I would say it's more about the process than it is the finished piece. And I think that's what makes it quite relaxing to do. You don't really have to think. You just have to do. And once you think that way, it becomes a lot easier. So the next colour I'm using is a coral pink, lovely lush colour. So again, just getting some water. I mean, that hasn't even dried. I'm not even going to bother to let it dry. Let the colours mix if they want to. Sometimes you'll get a bit of blank page, and obviously you're going to get a bit more pinky colour. When it mixes with the beige, it's going to sort of dull down your pink. But as I said, not thinking about that result, just noting that as I go along, that is what's happening. So you can see how quick and easy it is. It doesn't take much time. The next colour is a greyish blue. So it looks very nice, lovely colour. I have used this colour before. Well, I've used all of them, but in different combinations, not this combination before. So I've no idea how this is going to turn out with this blue. Obviously it looks nice with those 2 colours. Let's see how the blue turns out. You can still leave some of your page. Don't feel that you've got to cover it all. It really doesn't matter. Just let your hand go. sometimes you might look at these and go, oh, could do a bit of extra colour there, and that's fine, just add it. Do what you want, don't feel constrained to copying or getting it perfect. It really doesn't matter, like I said. It's not about perfection, this. Just about enjoying it. Let yourself go to it. Just see what happens. Okay, so those are the 3 colours. Not sure what they're going to dry like, but we're going to leave it a little while and see what happens. So it's dried now. You can see that the paint has dried, and what I'm now going to do is just get some pen and draw randomly over it. Oh, I can see that it's slightly wet there, but I think it'll be okay. So I've got a selection of pens, acrylic paint pens, metallic pens, black liners, gel pens, and some paint markers. So what I'm going to do is just pick a pen, any pen you like, and I'm just going to draw a scribble over my page. So just randomly. I'll do these 2 with this pen, I think, and just see whether I like that. And I quite like that metallic look. I'm going to use a pink Posca pen for the next one. Oops. So I'm just going to, again, randomly. So these thumbnails are good for testing out colours, seeing whether you like a certain look. If you were going to do a bigger painting, you might want to do 8 different ones, testing out different paints, different colours, seeing whether you like that look. It's a great opportunity to do that. I've got a gold gel pen here. Or you might want to just do all the same pictures, just have them as a set. These would be great for cutting out and using as a tag for presents for people. So I'm going to use a white Posca pen now. So it's up to you what you do with your little thumbnails. That's a little bit of a scribble. Quite enjoyed doing that. I think I'm going to have a few dots on some of these. So I'm choosing the darker backgrounds to add some dots. Again, I'm going to change my pens and use different colours. Can't make up my mind then. Different colours for different thumbnails. Just see how this works out. I might bring in a purple. As you can see, there's no thought process at all going into this. Completely random. I'm just going to use this gel pen and draw some little circles. This one is quite fine, so you don't really see this. Or maybe I'll do a bit of a scribble on top as well. So you can add as many layers as you want. Got a black fine liner here, so I think I might outline some of these just randomly. It's still a bit wet, so that's the reason that I'm got a bit of a gap round. You could do this quite tight to the acrylic marker pen, the acrylic paint pen. If the paint touched this nib, then could stop the flow, so that's why I'm being a bit cautious. And I'm going to do the same over here with the gold ones, which are dry because they are a gel pen. So just some little marks. Again, not thinking about it, just doing it. I might want to do some silver around this one. See what that looks like. Can't really see it against that dark background. Let's try down here. I'm a bit unsteady because these are still wet here. It's still wet here. So I don't want to rest my hand on and then ruin the little dots. I'm so impatient. And do some purple circles around. I just love doing circles. I don't know about you, but I find them really therapeutic, really calming to do. Just such a lovely shape. I like the way that looks. You can see here which ones look more striking and which ones you don't really notice, like these ones. These ones are very subtle. These ones you can see very well. Quite like the look of this. That might be my favourite at the moment, but things might change. I'm going to add another layer. I think I'm going to use oil pastels. If you haven't got oil pastels, you could use crayons, but I'm going to wait for this to dry. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, then back again, and it appears as though the pen has dried, but on these two you can see it's a bit clumpy. It's a bit clumpy on there, but I actually like that shape. So what I'm going to do is just try and break those up by just putting a few circles on there, see what happens. So again, using fine liner pen and just putting a couple of circles, 3 on there, just to break it up, 4. And again here, there's already a circle shape there, so I'll just utilise that. And there. Okay. Still looks a bit blocky, but hey ho, that's just the way it goes. Got some pastels, very similar colours to the paint background. So I'm going to try using these. Could use crayons, pencils, anything you have. I'm just going to again draw some shapes on. Sort of going through the painting. I'm not worrying whether I get marks on what I've already done, say the dots or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Or if it does matter to you, then just be careful as you go. But I think in this sense of being random, anything goes. So putting those on. Now with the soft pastels, they're really good because you can make harder lines if you want just by rubbing them. Sort of smooths it off, smudges it. So I think I'm going to try that on this one. See whether I like this effect or whether I like the harder lines. So again with this one, see whether you can see how it's sort of smudged all the way out, all the borders have sort of smudged out. These are a lot harder, but if you look at that, you can see the detail of the pastel, and it's sort of a raised effect, which is very nice. Also, I think I'll do these ones smudgy. And this one here to match it. In true experimentation, I would leave one smudgy and one not, but I'm just showing you how to think about what to put on. So again, I've got these colours. Let's just try them. Let's try this one first. Not making much of an impact, that one. So I might want to just put it on a couple of them to experiment. I might want to smudge this one because it's the smudgy one and leave that one as hard lines. Okay, and then lastly the blue. Oh, that's very vibrant. Completely different than the brownie colour. It's really changing the way this looks. So you might think to yourself, well, I'll leave a couple, see how those go. Or you think, actually, I'm going to do it because I want to smudge it in. So that's what I've decided. Again, smudging it on the smudgy one. Looks very interesting. I think I quite like the smudged ones. It's just the warmth of your fingers that makes it all smudge out. So now you can start thinking about, well, I like that for that reason, so I like that because of all the colours and the lines of the pastel, you know, the harder edges. This one I feel is very, very dark in comparison to the rest. So I think I'm going to get hold of my Posca pens. I'm going to lighten it up by adding some white. Just adding some little white dots randomly over this. And hopefully it will give it more interest. So I think out of all of them, this one looks a bit bland. And I might add some white here as well. And then I feel as though this one's left out, so I'm just going to add just what that looks like with a bit of brightening up. So they all look very different, but using more or less the same colours. I mean, there's a different colour pen there and circle around there, and some of the pens are different. But the background colours and the pastels have been the same. So it's sort of an experimentation as to which one you like best. So what I'm going to do now is heat up all of this, all of the masking tape, use a hairdryer and peel off the tape. So peeling off the tape, and you can see a lovely line there. I think this is a nice part to do where you can start seeing your lovely little patterns. They look a lot more clear once you take off the edges. Just careful not to rip the page. That's something I sometimes do, accidentally rip the page and get a bit upset about it. So it's usually on the one you really, really like. So I think they've turned out quite well. I think my favourites are maybe these ones, but then when I look at the smudged ones, I quite like them as well. I don't know. Let me know in the comments which ones you like, which are your favourites. Love to hear from you. Let me know what you thought of the talk through as well. Is there any way I can improve it? As I said, you know, not used to doing this, but it's been great, and enjoyed spending time with you, and hope to see you again soon. All right then, bye. Have a great day. Bye.